Oh, welcome back to episode 32 of the FullRange Podcast. I'm your host. It's not Denzel. It's not Brad Pitt. It's your boy. It's Matt Johnson. I'm here for episode 32. It is a late recording of the podcast this week. I'll be very, very honest with all of you listeners out there. It's about 11 o'clock. The evening before I usually drop the podcast. It's been an evening. Let's just call that. Shout out Reggie Davis if you're listening out there. So it's going to be a quick episode. Coming up next week, episode 33. Special number in the heart of Matt Johnson here. I do plan on trying to get a few guests in here to try to do a few things, maybe some Rankum segment a little bit. So hopefully we can get that going. But started the summer league for basketball this week, which is fantastic. Start to the summer. It really kind of kicks off the summer for our host here, and super excited to get that going. But went out, had some nice dinner tonight. Fantastic. Had a few adult beverages tonight. So we're having the podcast a little later. Next week I will be at the beach for a week. So the plan is to record a few days early here so I can drop a few things. So if anything large happens or big happens, I might miss out on, some commentary on it, but we'll do the best we can. We're going to have some fun on this week's episode 32 already. I can't believe it. So I appreciate you guys so much for listening. It's been fantastic. It's really, really fun to do this each week. I will say there is some times, where the feeling of having something to talk about is a little overwhelming. And this week I kind of felt that way. So I guess where I'll start is one of the funniest things that I was introduced to this week was on TikTok. And then I know I talk about this probably too much. But this week there was a thing that popped up on my TikTok, and it might just be on mine, but it is the Yeti and Bigfoot AI, I don't even know what you want to call them, vlogs. Yeah, vlogs, I think it is. They are phenomenal, folks. If you have not been introduced to the Yeti or Bigfoot vlogs on TikTok, or maybe they're on Instagram Reels. I don't know. Sometimes that gets a little funky with like how things show up on TikTok and Instagram or whatever. But if you have not been introduced to the Yeti and Bigfoot Instagram Reels, I highly suggest you just go on there and go in. Like, don't be an asshole. Like, don't go in there and just be like, this is stupid. I don't like these. Like, this doesn't even make sense. Just go in and have some fun with your lives. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to be mindless. It's supposed to be stupid. It's supposed to be just funny. Come on. If you follow us on Instagram at the FullRange Pod, you would have seen that I shared one of these TikToks this past week, and it's fucking phenomenal, folks. Like, just stop whining about it. Stop bitching about it. Just go have fun with your lives. If you enjoy it, I'm not talking to you. You're doing a great job with your life because you get it. You understand that we're just supposed to live and have some fun. And if TikTok and Instagram Reels can add a little enjoyment to your life, get with it. All right? Just get with it, folks. they're phenomenal. I mean, everything from, drinking beers, like popping zins. I've seen ones with like Bigfoot and Yetis like doing cocaine and then just like going cliff diving on their like, wherever they go, going into villages and stealing like beers and, all that kind of stuff. It's so good. Like, I mean, I don't know if I want to share one with you guys because they're pretty ridiculous. And I don't want to share one that I know might get me in trouble here. What is this? I mean, look at this. You guys hear that? I mean, that is a Bigfoot singing a Zach Bryan song.
Los Angeles. I'm on my way. Let's go check it out. I heard all the Latinas were here. These fucking liberals are crazy down here. Why don't they just kick all the fucking illegals out and end this shit? Anyways, how's y'all's day going?
I mean, 100% ridiculous. And if that offended you, I'm really, really sorry if that offended you in any sort of way. And I'm not saying that was my favorite video. So if you're listening to the FullRange Podcast for the very first time, that's okay. That's okay. That's not my political opinion. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. It's just funny. It's just funny. So just enjoy it. Enjoy just being in a happy, laughing place. And if it doesn't make you laughy, just scroll on to the next one. And if you're watching a Bigfoot or Yeti Instagram reel or TikTok, you're probably going to get a lot more. So just enjoy it. If you haven't got them and you have no idea what I'm looking or talking about, just look them up and then you'll get a lot more because that's exactly what happened to me. I got one, watched it, and it just kept happening. And I thoroughly enjoy them. Some of them are a miss. Some of them are fantastic. So I appreciate the Yeti and Bigfoot. I've also seen alien ones pop up here and there. I've seen like koala bears. I've seen a whole bunch of different types of AI generated things. And I know I've talked about this before on the podcast, but it's super crazy to me. Just the like ability of like some computerized system to have this capability of like make a voice, make a setting, like a place, make a character, and like adapt it to a certain scenario. And I don't know how these people are like really making these Yeti and Bigfoot or aliens or, whatever it might be, like how they're making them. But like just the fact that like some computerized system can basically make a vlog is really, really crazy. And there are a few that I've seen that are like, okay, this is obviously like AI generated, and like there will be like clips of, let's say, Bigfoot like lifting like 650 pounds or whatever, and you'll see it kind of like go through his neck or something. And he's just like, oh, like he just kind of lifts it up. And you're like, oh, that didn't really look that like clean or edited well. But the fact that like there's very little human interaction in all these different things is just mind blowing to me. And I know I've talked about that before, but it's mind blowing. But they're awesome. They're funny. They're incredible. Go check them out if you haven't already. And if you don't want to, just don't. Just don't do it if you don't want to watch them. If that sounded stupid, if this sounds ridiculous, then just don't do it. Just don't do it. One of the other things I wanted to talk to you guys about this week is I've talked before about in our workout wisdoms before, and it was really, really nice to have Bill Gardner, one of my best buddies, on last week just to chit chat. I haven't seen him in a while, but it was also nice to just kind of get like another insight of some workout things and, what music he's listening to and, what's been working for him, what things has he learned and stuff. And, I hope some of our listeners, regardless of your age, whether you're in high school, college level, beyond, in your 30s, 40s, whatever it might be, if you're listening to the Full Range podcast, like regardless of how you feel about my certain opinions about sports or whatever, if you're listening to the Workout Wisdom, I hope you can take some things maybe quicker than I did when I kind of started my fitness jersey. And it was really nice journey to kind of get you along faster than what I did when I was kind of starting mine. And it was really nice to get Bill in here last week and just kind of chit chat about things that have been working for him. And because I do truly believe that everybody's a little different in a lot of aspects when it comes to, being healthier, being in the gym. I wanted to talk a little bit about zone running. And, for a long time, I have been a runner, regardless of my weight, regardless of my weight training or anything like that. So, I even ran years ago when I was, around like 220 pounds. I was a runner when I was, much heavier at even like my college years, like around that like 260 range or anything like that. I was a really good distance runner when I was, around 200 pounds, maybe about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And I just started kind of realizing like the zone running kind of phenomenon. I don't know if I want to call it that because it's not really, I don't think, in the forefront of cardiovascular, things. But I've been getting a lot of information on like zone 2 running, and like the benefits of it and how to do it and things like that. And for a long time, I thought zone 2 was, it was kind of like standard, like it's anywhere from like 100 to 110 beats per minute to like 130. And I've done a little like research on my own and just things that I've seen recently saying like it's probably more like 60 to 70% of your maximum beats per minute. So when I kind of saw like the majority of like studies and information out that was the case, I was kind of like, well, maybe that's not 100 to maybe 140 beats per minute for everybody. Because I do believe that there's people out there that walk around with higher beats per minute and lower beats per minute. Like for instance, like, my watch tells me, and I don't know how accurate Apple watches are, but my heart rate, I think, is relatively lower than most people. The average person, I would say the average person is probably like 70 to 80 beats per minute resting, and mine's usually in like the 60 ranges. Sometimes at night, when I check my like sleep, if I'm wearing my watch, I even hit the high 30s beats per minute, which is relatively low. Like they say, if you're in like the 20s, like you're basically almost dead. So like I got kind of thinking about the zone 1, 2, 3, 4 ranges of cardiovascular exercise, and I thought to myself, I'm like, maybe it's not just such like 100 to 120 or 110 to 140 or whatever it might be. So I did a little research, and what I found is like the consensus over multiple different aspects or researches is basically a zone 2 run. So if you ever hear anyone talk about a zone 2 cardiovascular exercise, they're basically talking their heart rate is somewhere between 60 to 70% of their maximum heart rate. So let's say your maximum heart rate is between 200 to 220 beats per minute. 60 to 70% of that is about 120-ish or whatever. So, like, in retrospect, I wasn't, like, way off with a lot of my things. But what I've found is recently is when I really, really want to focus on zone 2 running. So this is beats per minute and everything like that. What I found is I really have to slow my pace, less focus on the distance I'm running and just the time, beats per minute. And what I found is zone 2 running is one of the best cardiovascular exercises or ranges that you can stay in to burn fat, but also have a little bit of like muscular benefits as well. So it's in a little bit of that range. And I'm not for any of you hardcore people out there, I'm not saying it's like 100% muscle building either. But once you get past that zone 2, you're really just burning fat. And what zone 2 can do for you is maintain some of that fat burning, but also maintain some of that muscle building that you've done. So, for instance, if I go to the gym and really get a good lift consistently and, in a calorie surplus, or I'm kind of right at my maintenance level in calories for my body, where if I do some zone 2 stuff, it's not necessarily going to take away from my muscle building capabilities, but it's also going to make me perform better cardiovascularly, if that makes sense. So I kind of hope that put that in the right way, like the right way. So again, it's kind of, I feel like that zone 2 cardiovascular exercise is a really, really great way to somewhat maintain muscle mass, but also still burn enough fat to kind of balance it out a little bit. So once you get above your zone 2, when you get into zone 3 and zone 4, which is like your 80 to 90%, then like basically zone 4 would be like your 80, 90 to 100%. You're not going to really maintain any muscle mass. It's basically going to burn up all your fuel sources, which is all your fat. It's going to end up taking away some muscle because sooner or later it's going to try to protect itself. Your body's going to protect itself and maintain some of your carbs and fat, and it's just going to eat away at muscle because that's, it's easier for your body to do that. And it's like, well, I'm going to die soon, so I got to hold on to this fat a little bit. So zone 2, I've been trying to hit more of those. The hardest part for me is sometimes when you're feeling good in a run, you just want to go, and then your heart rate gets up to the 150s, 160s, and you're just, you're feeling a little bit. So, God damn, this is a late night, everybody. This is a late night. Let me get a drink here. Hold on. This is just water, everybody. I really hope this podcast this week is doing okay. I feel like this is going to be one where I'm like semi-tired, exhausted. I went for a long run today. Had a couple drinks. And I'm just going to not remember how this is going to go. And then I'm going to get some comment either saying it was a great podcast or it was fucking terrible. It's unbelievable. I got to give a shout out to the Old Walls House podcast. We are presented by the Old Walls House podcast with Jordan Wallenberg. You can find him on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube as well. If you look him up on YouTube, you will also find the FullRange Podcast on YouTube as well. Maybe you're watching me on that right now. If you look them up on Spotify, you're also going to find the FullRange Podcast, which you can find us on there as well. Maybe you're watching there as well. Shout out Spotify. Spotify is fucking great. If you don't have Spotify, just fucking do it. Like, get with it. But you can also find him on Apple Podcasts. It's fantastic. He does a great job. He's helped me out a lot with this podcast. He's been on the podcast. I even hope to have him on next week for episode 33, which is a big episode for me. 33 was my basketball number for a long time. 3 is my favorite number. It's a big one for me. And we've been on we're closing in on a year, folks, to be honest with you. So shout out the Old Walls House podcast as well. So lastly, for this week's episode, and I can't believe I've been rambling on for almost 22 minutes now. I'm going to keep this short and simple. We're going to end with the mental health minute here with good old MJ. And I've been thinking a lot about this, and I haven't shared this yet on the podcast in our 32 episodes with each other yet. And I think it's one of the best things that I've ever done for myself through therapy. And I think it's also one of the hardest things that I've ever had to accept through therapy. And there's going to be some vulgar language here, but it's called the fuck 'em theory. And I got to shout out a couple of my really close friends over the last couple years. And this kind of started with, well, first of all, it started with therapy in a different way. And I'm not saying my therapist was like, well, you just fuck them, whatever. But it's kind of started with, coaching and, just being like, some of my close friends and stuff like that. So one of the hardest things to do, and if you're ever in a transition in your life, and I think we go through multiple transitions yearly. I think we go through multiple transitions, by decades and, all these different things. And, if you look at your life 10 years ago, it probably looks way, way different than it does now. And it's probably going to look way different 10 years from now, in 2035. And what I wanted to talk about this week was that theory of mine. And I'm going to try to not just keep saying the F-bomb just to say it. And you guys, probably if you're listening, you'll remember what I'm talking about. But the idea of letting go, or just saying I don't really care to certain situations. And you might be a person that's in your life right now, and I've been that person before, where growing up, it could be in a small town, it could be in even a bigger area, but I feel like it's a little less likely in a bigger area. But in a small town, America, USA, everybody knows you. Your family members are. It's a large family. Everybody kind of stays in that town, and everybody knows everybody. And over the years, things happen, and people get either disappointed. They make decisions that you don't like, or they don't like that you've made, or whatever it might be. There could be a lot of different things that go on. And it couldn't even, there's somewhat of it that it doesn't even have to be a personal decision that you've made, that you just have to sooner or later say, fuck it. It doesn't really matter. If they care so much about judging you, or they don't want to be your friend anymore, or they don't agree with the decisions you've made, or whatever it might be, it really, really doesn't matter. So I guess my big picture here in the Mental Health Minute in episode 32 is you just have to do what makes you happy. or what's good for you and the people around you that you know are going to be there. If you would have asked me 10 years ago who my friends were, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, I could have named 30 to maybe 50 people. And that's not a joke. I'm 36 years old. When I was 26, I could have easily named 25 to possibly 50 people that I'm like, those are my friends. And I would have really said, I probably could have just said, like, those are the people that I really, really care about. I care about their opinions. I care about what they think of me. I care about all these different things. If you ask me today, that list is around 10. And I think if your list isn't shorter as the years go on, you're probably not doing it right. And I'm talking about your life. You're probably not doing it right. And right now, it's so nice to say that I have 8 to 10 really, really, really solid people in my life. And that is no judgment. That is no hard feelings. That is nothing to the other people that used to be in that category. And that's what people will have a problem with. Maybe on this week's episode, it's probably what, maybe I'll even hear about it in some sort of way, but it's really, really not a bad thing. And I think that's where the difference is. And if you really, really think about it as you get older, if you think about your friends group and throw your family group in there, if you think of it as a target, like you're going shopping at Target or you're going to shoot at a target, the bullseye should be the people that are like, you can go to war with, you can tell them anything. They might not agree with it, but they're not going to judge you. They're going to be there for you regardless. Then the outer ring is kind of like the people that can know a lot of different things, but, it could be just like, I can trust them with this, but maybe not this one, which is fine. They're still your friends. And then the other ring is people that you're just nice to. They're your friends, which are phenomenal. You can still hang out with them, go out for a beverage, do all those things with them. Be kind to them when you see them every once in a while. That's fine. That's great. It's awesome. And then maybe if there's another ring, they're just the people that you see once in a while. Maybe you see them at work. Maybe you see them, once every 6 months or whatever. And you just tell them, hey, I'm doing great. How are you? Hey, I got a new mower last week. I've been driving around like fucking crazy. Whatever it might be. And that's okay. Just because someone's not in your bullseye of friends doesn't mean that you hate them, doesn't mean that you don't need to be nice to them, doesn't mean anything. But at the same time, in that same sentence, you can literally say, fuck them. And that's the fuck them theory. They don't need to know anything they don't want to know. They don't need to know what you're doing tomorrow. They don't need to know anything about you that you don't want them to. But I will say, you need to have the bullseye. You need to have that bullseye. The bullseye is super important. And it doesn't matter how small that bullseye is. And to me, the greatest thing that I can say to you folks this week on episode 32 of the FullRange Podcast is the smaller your bullseye is, the better your life will be. The better your life will be. I just thought about this before we close out the mental health minute here. The dehumidifier in the basement here, it's just been blasting. Just been blasting. I really, really hope that hasn't been just like, ooh, the whole time. It probably has. So, episode 32 in the books. We talked some Bigfoot Yeti AI. We talked a little Zone 2 cardiovascular exercise. We talked about the fuck 'em theory. The Matt Johnson fuck 'em theory. Seriously, though, if you have somebody in your life that you really, really care about, hold on to them. Put them in your bullseye. Put them in your bullseye. And if they don't want to be there anymore, it's okay too. It's all right. It's fine. Because sooner or later, someone else will replace them. And that doesn't mean that that person that left is a bad person. It doesn't. It doesn't. I want everyone to be very, very clear on this. Very, very clear. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. They might think you're a bad person, but that doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't. Let them leave. Fuck them. Doesn't mean you need to be mean. Doesn't mean you need to be disrespectful. Doesn't mean you don't have to call them a friend or whatever you want to call them, or a family member. But it's okay. They left. Someone else will fill. Someone else will fill. And that fulfillment will be even bigger than that other person. And that's the best feeling in the world. The best feeling in the world. Shout out the Bullseye boys and girls. All of them. They're fantastic. Shout out you guys. Shout out you guys. I'm just going to apologize for this week's episode. I have no idea what I just talked about for the last 33 minutes. I mean, I do. I have an outline and I do my stuff. I really do. I appreciate you guys so much. My dudes, my guys, my gals, the 90 followers on the Instagram page, the people who like all the Instagram reels that I post and all this stuff. I can't thank you guys enough. And I really hope some of the workout stuff, some of the mental health minute stuff, some of the fun that we have with the Rankum segments, and some of just all the ranting that I do, I really hope you guys appreciate and like to listen to it. I love to do it for you guys. So we're going to be recording the episode 33 very soon. So if something big happens, I'm not going to be reacting to it, most likely. I'm going to be at the beach. It's going to be fantastic. I really hope the weather changes. It's supposed to rain all week down in North Carolina. We're going to try to enjoy it anyways. I appreciate you guys very much. Episode 32 is in the books. Have a great week, everybody.